Hello students, welcome you all. I'm Mrs. Divya dealing with the chapter 1 reproduction in organisms, and this is the second lecture. So previously in the last lecture we had discussed about what is reproduction, about lifespan of different organisms, and we have started with the different types of asexual reproduction. So we'll continue with the same, uh, starting with the first one, that is here budding. Last three we have discussed in the last module, in the last lecture. So the next one we are going to discuss in this video is budding. Okay, so what is budding, children? It is a process in which a new individual develops as a small outgrowth on the surface of the parent. So one good example we can give for budding is yeast. Okay, so I hope you all know that yeast is a unicellular fungus, which is a good example showing budding. So in yeast, children, which is a unicellular fungus, you can see that a small projection. So here you can find a single cell starts producing a small outgrowth or projection which remains attached initially to the parent, and slowly it starts separating. Okay, then once it is completely developed, it separates or detaches from the parent cell, and then it matures into a new organism, right? Then this is one example what you can see in unicellular forms. But when you come to the animals like multicellular organisms like coelentrates, the example you can give there is hydra. Also in the poriferans like sponges you can find budding takes place. So in hydra you can see that the cells, the inner layer of cells, that is the gastroderm and the epidermal cells, they undergo continuous repeated mitotic divisions and they produce a projection, that is a small outgrowth. Okay, so that first actually appears as a small outgrowth. Later on it starts developing, the cells start differentiating, and once it develops it detaches and it differentiates into an adult organism. Okay, so sometimes the bud, it remains there itself till it is completely developed, and slowly when it is completely grown, it detaches, and that is it attaches to the substratum there, and it starts growing into a new individual. So as I told you, the other examples we can give is in sponges. Okay, that is cycon, you can find same type of budding is seen also in the coelentrates as well, tunicates and coelentrates. Then the bud what I told you just now, those are actually the external buds or exogenous buds, they can also be called as. Then the internal buds are called as the gemmules. Okay, so what are this gemmules? Gemmules are nothing but they are also called as the internal buds or the endogenous buds. Okay, so they are nothing but mass of cells and they are capable of growing into new individual organisms. So where do you find these gemmules growing? So these we can generally find them in the freshwater sponges and also very few marine sponges. One good example is spongilla we can give. Okay, so in spongilla you can see that the gemmules or the internal buds, which are consisting of a small group of cells, they are present inside the cavity, body cavity. So when they are formed, they are generally produced to withstand unfavorable conditions. So as I told you previously, the mode of asexual reproduction you can find in the sponges is budding, right? So that is the common mode. But sometimes, that is external buds are formed, but sometimes during unfavorable conditions, to withstand that, they start producing spores or small spore like structures inside the body, and those are called, those mass of cells are called as gemmules. So once there is return of favorable conditions, what happens? So these gemmules, see, this is the outer body structure, that is consisting of the spicules outside, which is the skeletal structure of the sponges. So inside you can find small mass of cells, that is the gemmules. Okay, so this is the structure of a sponge body, right? So these are the small gemmules we can find inside the body cavity. So on the onset of favorable conditions, they are released out and they grow into new individuals. Coming to the next type of asexual reproduction, that is fragmentation. So as the name says, fragments are formed. So it is nothing but a process in which parent body divides into two or more pieces. Okay, that is, it goes on splitting into smaller pieces called as the fragments, and each of that fragment, it develops into a complete individual. Okay, so what are the examples we can give here? So many fungi, they reproduce by fragmentation. Okay, so fungi such as the rhizopus, the hyphae actually divides there. Then in animals also you can find fragmentation takes place. Also in some of the algae like Spirogyra, you can find fragmentation is seen. Then in animals, children, fragmentation sometimes is also accompanied by regeneration. Hope you have all heard the term regeneration. Sometimes you may get confused between the two. You may feel both are the same, right? So what is regeneration? It is nothing but the regrowth of the lost parts, right? So both are almost one and the same. The main difference is that fragmentation is a mode of reproduction, a sexual reproduction in most of the organisms, but generally regeneration is an accidental process. So it is not that the whole of the organism regenerates, only the lost body parts regenerates in some of the organisms. Okay, so here regeneration is a growth of lost body parts. So for example, if you take in flatworms, liverfluke, planaria, you can see that if the body of the organism is cut into many parts, so each of the part grows into a new individual. So this type of regeneration is a mode of reproduction in these organisms. But in few organisms you can find, such as in the lizards, right? See, in protozoans also, you can find sometimes regeneration takes place. And then you can see it in some of the coelentrates, flatworms, right? Annelids. Then echinoderms like starfish. So in starfish you can find, children, if any arm is cut, then it has the capacity to grow that cut body part. Okay, then ascidians. So these are all the examples. The next type here is sporulation, or which is also known as spore formation. So what are spores? Spores are nothing but minute single celled, they are thin or thick walled propagules. Okay, what you know the term propagules means, which help in propagation, multiplication, right? So sporulation is a process in which organism produces specialized cells called spores. So how spores are produced? By the phenomenon or the process called as sporulation or spore formation. So where do you find this spore formation? So these are also produced generally during unfavorable conditions, right? And during at the onset of the favorable condition, those spores, they get dispersed and they form new individuals. Okay, so examples you have in certain type of bacteria, also in some algae, fungi, you can find spore formation takes place, right? And also in many of the plant species, then like the ferns, also in protozoans, right? So different types of spores are produced usually. So one such example I can give you is spore formation in the bread mold. You know the common bread mold, it is Rhizopus. It is commonly called as the bread mold because they grow on the decayed food items, okay, such as bread pieces. So here the hyphae during sexual reproduction, they produce erect structures, that is specialized reproductive structures called as sporangiophores. Okay, So on these sporangiophores, which are filamentous structures, you can find the spore bearing structures are produced called as the sporangia. See, this is the sporangiophore, right, which is a specialized reproductive structure. On this sporangiophore, you can see there is a bulge shaped swollen structure called as the sporangia. Inside the sporangia, you can see multiple divisions take place producing smaller spores, right? So these spores, once they are formed, they get dispersed and they fall and grow into new individuals. So here the hyphae of them, see here you can see it consists of root like structures called as the rhizoids, then the sporangiophores, and this whole structure is called as the stolon. Stolon are nothing but stem modifications, right? So what type of modification you call it as stolon? The basal part of it grows inside the soil, and one of the branch, it grows erect and then again it enters into the soil, right? So it is similar structure. So these spores, as I told you, on germination, they start growing into new hyphae. So this is a common mode of sexual reproduction in what? Fungi, right? So one example I gave you, that is Rhizopus. So rhizoids, they are, as I told you, root-like structures. They just help in anchorage, support, and sporangiophores, they bear the spores. Then also in some algae like Chlamydomonas. So Chlamydomonas, they are unicellular alga, right? Then Eulothrix, they are filamentous alga. So here in the algae, one example you have studied about the fungi, right? So that is the sporangiophores. Another such spores you can find in alga. In alga, the spores are motile and flagellated, and they are called as zoospores. Why zoo? Because zoo means animal-like. They are animal-like. Why? Because they are motile in nature. They are having flagella, so they are called as zoospores. Okay. So zoospores, so as they are motile, they are distributed or spread very well, right, because of their motility, and so the chances of reproduction or survival is more in this type. Then another example we have conidia. So where do you find conidia, children? So these are exogenous buds. Sporangia, what you had studied, they are internal buds or endogenous because they are produced inside the sporangia. Here you can see these conidia are exogenous and they are non-motile outgrowths which are found on some fungi such as Aspergillus and Penicillium here. So this is the hyphae, the filamentous hyphae of the Penicillium you can find here. These are the sporangia. Here we call them as the conidiophores. The conidia bearing structures are called as the conidiophores, and on that conidiophores you can see the spores are produced exogenously outside. They are called as the conidia, right? So in this video we have discussed some other different types of sexual reproduction. In the next lecture, children, will continue with the same. We'll study the next other types of sexual reproduction. Okay, so hope you have followed. Thank you very much.